I was actually in a fighting game players chat today after playing like a whole hell of a lot of DNF Duel and watching a lot of people play DNF Duel with like the new hotness, right? A lot of people are on that right now. I've noticed I'm seeing some old school boomer takes come back, right? I could open up a notepad and we could get into those old school boomer takes, right? But basically, it all comes down to older fighting games are better than newer fighting games for X reasons, right? There's always different tons of reasons. One of my favorite reasons. Let's go ahead and pull up this notepad, shall we? I also have a video. I think I have a video ready. Display capture. All right, we have this notepad. Old versus new fighting games. So the thing I always hear, hey, Mean Buffalo, thank you so much for the resub, 30 months. Appreciate you, man. Let me go ahead and move my camera too. That would probably help, right? So that we're not in the way of what we're trying to talk about. Let's put ourselves in this bottom corner. You guys don't need to see me. What you need to see is this. The takes of boomers when it comes to old school fighting games compared to, and I feel like I need to preface this. When I say old school versus new school, this happens from generation to generation with each new fighting game release. Okay, it could be Street Fighter 4 versus Street Fighter 5. It could be Tekken Tag 2 versus Tekken 7. Or it could be even worse. It could be all the way from Plus R to Strive, okay? There can be a huge span of time, or there can be one console generation between, yeah, Street Fighter 4 is new. I agree that Street Fighter 4 is new. I agree. It's from 09. It's not old, right? But so what happens is people always say, that's the first one I want to show people. This is my favorite one. Older games took more skill. As if new games take zero skill at all. That's my favorite one. We're going to move the chat up and we're going to turn on the, hold on. What the fuck? What the fuck? How do I open folders now? How do you open folders on Streamlabs? What the fuck? That's so weird, man. That's how you do it. Take off sub mode, bro. Come on, bro. Oh, shit. I forgot sub mode was on. Yo, thanks. I appreciate that. All right, we have this video up that I want to show you guys for older compared to newer. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. No, I already took it off. Okay, well, you got it. You're a mod, right? Let's take a look at this. I want to show you guys something Tokido did versus Daigo Umehara. So these guys are both like amazing fighting games. Oh my gosh, the highest is 360p. Is it gonna kill?
Ball style, you can hear the crowd.
Let's go back. Let's go back.
Ooh, counter poking. That crouching strong from Boxer has one of the best hitboxes. So good.
I want you guys to watch this with me.
Basically, no hittable hitbox in the front part of it.
Nice. Ooh.
Tokido using that.
Do you see what Tokido's doing right now?
Cue ball style, you can hear the crowd.
Do you see what Tokido is doing right there? For anyone who doesn't know, what that was Vega's wall cling. Outplaying Daigo, sure. That was Vega's wall cling. If you do not try to air check him against the wall cling, you actually have to hold a plus on block, cross up, or same side mix up. Or I guess you could have an anti-air, like an anti-air reversal, like a Sagat, Tiger uppercut, or like a Ryu Shoryuken, right? But against a lot of the cast, that is actually an play around, like an impossible situation to play around, right? That's the Yun jump back dive kick. Got all the boomers in chat. Yeah, there's so many people here to see why I agree / disagree, right? It's all dependent on the game, right? Certain styles of games have certain broken things and certain styles don't, right? If we go all the way back to the old school stuff, Super Turbo. There was so much like corny ass shit in Super Turbo, right? People complain about the corny things that happen in fighting games now, right? People complain about you can like look at the difference between the things people complain about, and it's actually really funny. You look at something like Soul Far Slash or Ram Far Slash or Leo DP or Swiftmaster Tap, right? Super Turbo is nothing but corny shit. Thank you. I agree. Right? And those are things that right now people complain about and say, oh, and Android 21 spin to win, right? These things are super broken in the current, landscape of fighting games. But then we go back and we look at the old school of old school, and we see things like Third Strike Chun-Li and Yun and Yang and Super Turbo Vega and Super Turbo Boxer Pummel Grab, right? Which leads to a cross up on either side into the same loop over and over. Or E Honda partitioning with his command grab while you're in the corner. Or M Bison one touches, right? We look at things like that and we're like, yeah, all of these games with those things took way more skill. You got touched once, you're dead, right? Now, you could say on one end it takes more skill because you don't have the defensive options to get out of the situation. You can't just smash and wake up. But you can also say on the other hand that it takes less skill because once you get that initial neutral play opening, it's just degenerate shit. Never seen a character able to punish you for trying to whip punish? Happy Chaos legit corny? Oh, I'm not referring to Happy Chaos at all. I mean, like, I was talking about things that people were complaining about at the beginning of Strive, like Ramfar Slash and Naga 2S. Yeah, old games definitely have that. Plus on whiff moves? You think plus on whiff came from modern fighting games? Plus on whiff is an old school term, right? Here's the next one. The execution barrier is being lowered. I don't have a video for this. I don't think I need a video for this. This is all 100% subjective. I personally like that games are easier to do things now, right? There's still like little quirky things like the Arx's backdash, like dash blocking, giving you rolls sometimes when you use the block button in a game like DNF Duel. Really shitty buffer systems in games like Tekken and Soul Calibur and MK, right? And even Smash Ultimate. So like there's a lot of quirky things in modern fighting games that make them harder. Yeah, the Arx's backdash is out in your game. Aiding has the same problem right now currently, where you try to go for a run up and then back to block, and you'll sometimes backdash. It's really funny, and it makes even less sense because you're doing tap forward, and then you press back, and it's randomly giving you a backdash. It's really funny. I don't know why it's happening to people, but they die from my 5S when it happens. So I love it. I don't know. I think there's also not a lot of one frame links. Yeah, there's not a lot of one frame links anymore. But what I'm getting at is the execution barrier is lower. And I actually really like that. I think that fighting games shouldn't be so hard to get into, right? Fighting games shouldn't be this old man genre of, I got stabbed in the fucking arcade because I tick-throwed some guy 80 times. So he walked up behind me and stabbed me in the back and called me a punk and handed me his money after he beat me. Like, we don't need that, okay? This isn't the cutthroat days of everyone having to put a quarter in the machine. We're all sitting at home, playing on our computers, playing on our consoles, having a good time, and trying to dig into the meat of the game. And the execution barrier being lower means that more people can dig into the meat of the game. Now, I will say I do like the option for higher execution, right? Like DNF Duel. You don't have to use the hard inputs, but you can, and those hard inputs give you a little bit of extra bonus. A game like Street Fighter 6 is going to be coming out. They're going to have the easy mode, the modern control scheme, and then they're going to have classic. So you can enjoy the game either way you want. Maybe your character's a little hampered when you use modern, but you have the option to switch over to classic if you ever need to. Oh yeah, that's the next point. Don't worry. I got you. Right, so there's a lot of things that exist in older fighting games as tech, right? And that's the next thing. Patches ruin fighting game. I'm gonna show you guys the next clip. Let me see if I have it ready. I don't know if I do. I don't. Oh, I only have one video up here. Well, I had another thing of Super Turbo. Okay. I'll just type it in. I just want you guys to see it. I don't even care if you guys... I'm sure you guys know what a wave dash is, right? As a whole, patches are great. I agree. Is this going to show him back, like, wave dashing? I just want to show him wave dashing.
Performed by jumping and immediately air dodging into the ground. Doing this fast enough will make your air dodge momentum carry over by sliding you across the stage.
Do you think...
This can be useful to put your character in certain ranges and positions.
Things like this would have survived patches? Wave dash is a smash term, by the way. Isn't it a smash term, by the way? Yeah, I know. I could have looked up wave dashes in Tekken. I could have looked up wave dashes in Rocket League. I could have looked up wave dashes in a bunch of games that have wave dashing, okay? There's, Marvel vs. Capcom games, Tekken. Yeah, I know, there's tons of fighting games where wave dashing exists, right? Wave dashing is just an engine-based momentum thing where you dash in a way where you continue to slide. I know that for sure, right? I know that it started, if I'm not mistaken, technically with Tekken. Wave dashing wasn't in Marvel 1, or it wasn't in Superheroes, right? Marvel Superheroes. So it would have technically been in Tekken 1 first. Who's the biggest boomer in chat? Not me, right? Patches ruin fighting games, right? People assume that because patches exist, that certain features. No, it was in Marvel 1. Okay, yeah, Marvel versus Capcom 1. Marvel Superheroes. I don't think it was in Marvel Superheroes. I think it was in X-Men versus Street Fighter. I think that's the first game it was in. And this comes from a time where people just got used to the bullshit, okay? And I say that in like the nicest way possible, right? You look at a game like Tekken 1. I shouldn't have to go into this very deep. I think I can just explain it and you guys will understand the problem here. King's down forward 1 in Tekken 1. For anyone who doesn't know, down forward 1 in Tekken is a mid check with most characters. King's very fast mid check, like 13 frames, 12 frames, right? Not like anything overbearing. Was minus on block, okay? I'm sorry, it was minus on hit, or normal on hit. It was like plus 3, plus 2 on hit. Nothing wild. But on block, it was actually extremely plus. On block, it was double digit plus. Okay, so when I say that it was extremely silly and there was something that I shouldn't have to explain here. When I say it was double digit plus, I mean it was above plus 30 if I'm not mistaken. You can watch, like, there's this old Main Man video where he talks about it. And he talks about it being like plus like 30 or plus 60, something crazy like that. To the point where you would rather take the hit than block it. Because if you block it, you are stuck in a guaranteed jailed mix-up, which is fucked up. Or you were stuck there blocking for one of the chain throws, which is also fucked up, right? Those things existed in older fighting games that would not exist now if it came to patches, like if patches never existed, right? The bullshit in those games we just put up with. Certain things in Super Turbo, certain things in Third Strike, certain things in games along the lines of like Mortal Kombat 4, Mortal Kombat 2 and 3, right? Those things were so messed up. Guilty Gear 1, right? Guilty Gear X, like games like that. They didn't brawl, sure. Brawl Meta Knight, chain throws from ICs, Zero Suit literally being able to throw basically got tons of patches. Yeah, but everyone plays Super Turbo. It's like all the fucked up shit in Super Turbo, you just have to deal with it. Oh, you don't like that I did back forward? I did my charge with Chun-Li, and then I did back and then forward, I'm just holding forward, and you have to just wait out my super? Oh, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. I can't believe you don't want to have to deal with that. There's no patches, get fucked. Patches, if anything, really shore up a lot of the unintentional game design that the devs aren't cool with, right? There is unintentional game design that exists in fighting games that ends up staying because people just get so used to it, or the existing player base likes it enough, and the devs are okay with it, right? Wave dashing is almost completely removed from Smash. But wave dashing 100% makes Melee what it is. So if you are a big fan of Melee, then you continue to play Melee because of wave dashing, because of wave running, because of L canceling, because of these difficult techniques, right? But the devs didn't like it. They say, hey, this is a party game. What the fuck are you guys doing breaking our party game? Get out of here with that shit. Don't break our fucking party game. I'm Daddy Sakurai, bitch. I'm fixing this shit. Okay? But then you look at another game with advanced movement, like Tekken, with the Korean backdash, which is completely unintentional, right? During backdash, you're allowed to cancel into anything that is not an additional back. And that is not what the developers intended it to be used for. They wanted you to like maybe backdash and check with a button, or backdash and like sidestep. But what Koreans and the community as a whole figured out was, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna backdash, down back, neutral, and then back again, and it'll give us 2 back inputs. That shit is clean. That shit is sick. It'll make our movement way crisper, and it makes the game feel more fluid once you master it, right? And they left it in the game because it became so integral to the way that Tekken was played at a high level, and they enjoyed that, right? So it's not on the game designers or the players. It's on both a lot of the times, right? It's on the existing community. And I think that this is like probably the least egregious, right? Because there are instances where patches completely ruin games, right? But for the most part, patches are usually just meant to fix balance or shuffle balance. Let's say shuffle, right? Because it's not always fixed. A lot of times it's just shuffled. And also get rid of a lot of unintentional things. Combos are originally a glitch. Glitches are also fine. Yeah, I agree. I don't think here's the one thing I want people to know. When they say combos were originally a glitch, I think they mean that the special cancels were a glitch. Links 100% make sense. When you like look at a link, it doesn't look like a glitch, but when you look at a special cancel look like a glitch. And they are in almost every fighting game now. I can't name a single 2D fighter outside of Dive Kick that doesn't have special cancel. I had to think really hard. I guess Smash does have special cancels now because of the 2D characters. Let's go. Chicken in Tekken was originally a glitch. Yeah, Chicken is the parrying thing, right? It even tells you chicken when you do it in Tekken 7, right? Or not anymore. Anyways, yeah, things like that were glitches that became a mechanic. They were not originally supposed to be in the game. These are like the 3 biggest boomer takes. There's tons more, right? But like you can always just look at it generationally and generationally. It does say chicken, yeah, I remember. I thought so. You can look at these games like generationally, right? When Street Fighter 4 was out the door and Street Fighter 5 was coming in, everyone was super excited to play. Hey, thank you so much for the resub. Appreciate you, bro. New fighting games tend to stray away from the basics of a fighting game in response to accommodate to make it more appealing to the community. Nah, because a lot of people complain about it. So I don't think it's more appealing to the community. I think they just want to open the game up to a broader audience. And that's like, there's no fault in that. Yeah, I don't think fighting games stray away from the basics. I just think that they become more, and I think I know what you mean there, right? Like if you look at a combo in Super Turbo compared to a combo in Street Fighter 4, you're just like, how the fuck is this both Street Fighter? The meat of the game is still there, you know? Like the meat of Tav, thank you so much for the raid of 6. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate the hell out of that. The meat of Street Fighter is still the same. If you look at every major Street Fighter game, they're all the same, right? It's still strikes, throws, projectiles, footsies, and like anti-airs. That's what Street Fighter will hopefully always be about. Will always be about. Thank you for the raid. Yeah, I appreciate that. I was watching you play DNF up until right now. You were on my phone. I am now watching myself. Appealing to people wanting something new with a new game? I don't think so, because and it just depends on the developer, right? Also, yeah, I guess that's a good point. New games, that's another take. So I actually like that you said that. I don't think you mean to say that, but like mean it that way, but new games try to cater to a new audience rather than the existing. Now, this one is halfway true, right? I think I see what you mean there, Loki. This one is halfway true. But it's not fully true, and I think the reason why is because they're not trying to get rid of their original player base, they are trying to expand it, right? And in that transition, you are going to lose people, right? There's a lot of people who really enjoyed. Let me bring it back to my roots real quick. Hold up. Let me bring it back to my roots real quick. Hold up. So there's a lot of people who thoroughly enjoyed Soul Calibur 2, Soul Calibur 3, Soul Calibur 4 even, right? But then when they decided to take Soul Calibur in a direction it had never been for 5 entries, because you have to consider Soul Edge / Soul Blade, right? Whichever in your region, whatever it would be called. So Soul Blade, Soul Calibur 1 through 4. There was really no meter. Right? The combat was fluid, there was a block button, backdashing was easy, sidestepping was easy, all of that, no problem. But then in Soul Calibur 5, they decided to add meter and make movement a lot more punishing compared to older Calibur games. And that ruined, or not really ruined, but that took away a lot of the existing player base that really enjoyed Soul Calibur for that thing, right? For being that very simple, easy to understand, hard to master kind of fighting game without the extra fluff of run counter, right? That's what it's called. Movement counter, right? If you move at all, you can be counter hit. It existed in 3, but it wasn't very punishing. It existed in 4, started to become a little more prominent, but in 5, it was like the worst thing ever, mixed with the meter system, right? They took one of the most popular, or one of the most notable defensive features of Soul Calibur and locked it behind meter. Wow, I enjoyed that. I thought, whoa, this is like a really refreshing change of pace. Like there's only one form of GI. There's not like guard impact and guard deflect, and then you have to go like high, mid, or low. You don't have to do any of that. It's just one timing, one button, and it always grants the same amount of plus frames, right? And then they added a second thing called Just Guard. All of these changes mixed together made for a fighting game that a lot of Soul Calibur veterans were turned off from. That they said, this isn't the Soul Calibur that I knew and loved. I'm not about it. Let's go back. Let's go back. Fuck it. Let's go back. Let's go back. Right? And they did. And when they did, they went back to Soul Calibur 2, which is like probably the one that people think is the most neutral focus, the fairest. I'm going to go ahead and disagree with that. And the most like exciting to watch while also being competitively like having competitive integrity, right? Like it didn't feel like, oh, I got robbed or the game cheated me, right? And that is something that you can do for any fighting game, right? And I think that's what companies try their best not to do, right? Like Tekken has, for the most part, except losing the balance system and gaining the spin system, has stayed the same. A game system like NRS, they like to keep their games different all the time. They do not like to really sit on one style of gameplay, except from Injustice to Injustice, right? With the Mortal Kombat, the 3 that NetherRealm has made, they're all very, very different. Like none of them really play the same. And I think that that's something that a lot of people don't think of whenever they're referring to new games trying to cater to someone. Injustice 2 and Injustice 2 is very different. But Soul Calibur 2 isn't the golden perfect child to make me buy it. I didn't really like Soul Calibur 2 as much as I liked Soul Calibur 3. In the cut like a Band-Aid? Absolutely. You know what it is, Eric. Oh, also, on that same topic, right? You said Injustice was very different from Injustice 1 was very different from Injustice 2. I disagree. I think that the only thing that really slowed down was the fact that they added more projectiles. The movement stayed almost exactly the same. The combo structures were exactly the same. All they did was add more on top of what already existed, right? A lot of the top tiers had a fuck ton of projectiles. They had a fuck ton of projectiles. They just added more projectiles. That's all they did. Like, Injustice 1 to 2 was very similar. They just added more defensive options and more ways to zone your opponent out. But those things already existed. Go look at Zod versus Lex Luthor. Zod versus Lex Luthor was fucked up. And do you know why? Because Zod could just throw fireballs at him from full screen. And if he ever got in, Zod could push him back out with a safe armored move. And then it's over. The game is over. Right? Here's the last one. I think that this is the boomer take that, I spelled robbery wrong, that has the most weight to it, right? I saw more rushdowns in Injustice 1 compared to Injustice 2. Then you must have not played against a lot of the top tiers in Injustice 2. Because most of the top tiers were in Injustice 2 were rushdown, right? Other than the occasional Starfire. Actually, Starfire was more rushdown than she just happened to have a really good projectile. Other than having a good projectile, same with Supergirl, they were very solid characters during their heyday, but they just happened to have a really strong projectile too. It sucked. Like, I think they just wanted it to be more projectile focused, right? Even if you look at a character like Melina in MKX, she was very strong. She had some of the best rushdown in the game, but also had two of the best projectiles in the fucking game. It's fucked up. Too big. Okay, so I guess let me get back on the topic. New games have too much robbery. These are the people who come from older games, right? Like maybe Street Fighter Third Strike, which doesn't really have too much of a comeback mechanic. If anything at all, I don't think there's really a comeback mechanic in Street Fighter Third Strike. You don't think there's enough robbery? We need to have more robbery. Game Genie said more robbery. Y'all heard that shit? Somebody ban them. I'm kidding. Old games have a robbery as well? Yeah, so what I was actually going to say is the way that old robbery worked was just a lot of the times the damage was really high. Let's look at a game like Virtua Fighter 5. Virtua Fighter 5 is from what, 2007? 2006? It's a very old game, right? It's the last Virtua Fighter. You could probably even go to Virtua Fighter 4, Virtua Fighter 3, because the character I'm about to mention is in there as well. Go just has really high damage, Brian-like damage in a game where the damage, it's usually 2007. Thank you. I thought it was 2006. Is usually just a little on the high side, right? Maybe a 3-touch game and you're dead. Okay, Go takes that to an extreme where if he counter hits you, even on your own offense, because mashing is always going to be good. I don't care what anybody tells you. Mashing is a solid defensive strategy depending on the situation. Go will 2-touch you. So instead of the comeback mechanic being that you lost and you got a full life bar back, or you had V-trigger, or you got instinct, right, from Killer Instinct, instead of these things, which are a little more modern, on the modern side, instead the damage was just extremely high. I'm going to go ahead and revert back to Street Fighter 2 Super Turbo, right? Super Turbo. So many characters had 2-touch or 1-touch situations. Blanka had a combo where if it stunned, it was a 1-touch combo, right? He did half your life, it stunned you, you do it again. Bison had one where it was guaranteed. He would always stun you. So if you got hit by the jump in, you would get hit, you would get stunned, and then it would come back around and he would just do it again and you're dead, right? These older games didn't really need comeback mechanics because of the way that they functioned was so degenerate in the first place that the comeback mechanic was just playing the game. And it wasn't always skillful, right? Like, I like the fact that now there's just something to keep the game a little more even for the most part, right? Now, I don't think that all comeback mechanics are built the same. I don't think they're all fair. I don't think they're all good. Okay, I don't think Sparking Blast is a good thing. I didn't think Marvel X Factor was a good thing. I don't think V-Trigger is a good thing. Okay, just depending on how the comeback mechanics are balanced, they're fine. They're balanced poorly, they're not fine. I don't like Soul Charge. I don't like fucking Reversal Edge, right? Tekken Rage, not a big fan of Rage drives. Rage arts are fine. Did we free Walter? Did you shoot Walter? Yeah, you can free him. I know you shot Walter. Sparking Blast is tame compared to most comeback mechanics. I guess I shouldn't say that I don't like Sparking Blast. I don't like Sparking Blast mixed with the new thing that they added. What about Awakening? I think depending on... We shot Hatcherilla, you did. You put him in jail. I think that depending on... I'm a big fan of Soul Charge and Soul Calibur 6 and RE. God bless. Yeah, Limit Break. With the new thing, I don't like Sparking. There we go. I don't like Sparking. And it's also that in a lot of these newer games, you look at things like Sparking Blast, and it's just homogenized, right? Like everyone, Sparking Blast plus Limit Break is essentially just X Factor. You look at a character like Hitman, perfect example. The Awakening of Hitman is extremely powerful, right? He goes from just being a very nice mid-range, like footsies-based character with really good buttons and like nice hit confirms to being able to rob you because if you try to punish something, he has a follow-up that makes him safe on all of his mana moves. Really ridiculous, right? I can see how that turns off certain people, but also brings in new people. I actually know a few people, I won't name any names, who said they would have probably never tried Soul Calibur 6 if it weren't for its very unique comeback mechanic. Those being Soul Charge and Reversal Edge. While I don't personally agree with that sentiment, I would rather do without them, at least the way that they currently function. For some people, they are is prep for murder. No, I don't plan on killing anyone. I mean, that's the dream at least, right? For certain people, these are the defining reasons to play a game, right? Lastly, I don't think I have to explain why this one's fucking stupid. These are all the boomer takes that I've seen that like really irk me, right? I was in a Twitch chat and someone was talking about it while playing DNF Duel. They said that like there's too much robbery in this game. This game doesn't have inputs. People in my day had to sweat for the inputs. Like now you can just do this easy shit. The execution barrier is too low. All these characters have crazy save jump setups and stuff, which is funny because a lot of those older games also had save jumps. But whatever, I won't mention that. This game is made to like, you know, bring in new players. It's not about the old school players who have been playing fighting games for a long time. And this game is built for casuals. Here's my problem. Duh. Of course these games are built for casuals. Bitch, they want money. The competitive player base for most fighting games is like 1% of the full total sales of the fucking game. Oh, they built it for the casuals. Bitch, it's not for you. I don't care how much money is being put into the Pro Tour, how much they support the competitive scene with regular patching, and they have developer open conferences where you can like hear what they're thinking and all of this stuff. Games are built for casuals. Yeah, and even older fighting games were built for a casual audience. Almost all the time. You know what they wanted you to do back in the day, Game Genie? They wanted you to put in a fucking quarter and play the damn game. Whether you were good at it or not, they wanted you to enjoy it, because fighting games are meant to be enjoyed. Just like hopefully every video game outside of Escape from Tarkov, okay? They are meant to be enjoyed. So you just put in that quarter and you enjoy the game and you have fun, whether it's competitively or casually. They just want people to enjoy the game. And the more people they can reach and have enjoyed the game, if they lose part of that 1% player base, but gain 300% players to make up for it, I don't think that matters. I don't think they mind at all. The crushing sales figures of these new fighting games compared to the older ones is a testament to how this is probably a good thing for the overall health and life of the competitive scene for fighting games. Sure, a lot of the older fighting game players might be rotated out. You might stop seeing those players who you've been seeing playing Street Fighter since Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, and you might start seeing a lot of new faces because newer faces enjoyed the game more. But that competitive scene is still going to exist. I don't see devs ruining a game to the point where there's no competitive player base for these fighting games. I don't. That's just me. I could be wrong, and Street Fighter 6 could be a fucking disaster and no one plays it. I doubt it, because I might play it. Heard DJ's getting announced. Fighting games are old man as fuck in Japan. It's not just about Japan. Like, there's fighting game devs all over the world, right? You look at Killer Instinct, that's an American developer. You look at NRS, that's an American developer. You look at Aiding, they make games for Japan, for Japanese audiences and American audiences, right? It's bigger over in the West. What? That is the West. Isn't that the? Oh, it's bigger over in the West than Japan. Wait, then why are you mentioning that? Oh, in fighting in there's a lot of younger people not playing fighting games in Japan. That's what you're getting at. Mortal Kombat was definitely made for casuals, wanting anyone to walk in and spin quarters like, oh shit, that's cool looking. Yeah, exactly. Like, you walk into the arcade and you see someone like rip someone's head off with a fatality, and you're like, oh, I want to do that. That's sick. Mortal Kombat is the whole reason why the ESRB rating system got created. Yeah, you could have worded that better. No, it's okay. Essentially, these are some of the worst boomer takes I see. Whether it's based on opinion itself or whether it's based on objective fact that there's a reason why they do this, why there's logic behind it, and it makes more sense. Okay? So, if you like this really bad, very put together, very poorly put together talk segment, of course, I did this on the Twitch for the YouTubes. So if you're in chat, say hi, YouTube. And if you guys want to see these live instead of watching it on the YouTube, come by to the stream. Twitch.tv/BeanieThuggish. And I stream Monday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. CST, almost every single weekday. This has been Beanie Thuggish for the YouTubes, signing out and saying peace.